Robert.
Yo, what's shaking AC? We're back to video now. We're back to video. We were in person with all the crowds cheering us on.
I know they're still here somewhere, right?
They are. Yeah, they're watching online through the interwebs.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. All of them.
All of them.
Exactly. So I had a really good idea.
Okay, cool. I like good ideas.
I thought we should rant about like politics.
Oh boy. This looks like a good job for me. Everybody just follow me.
No, I am just kidding. I will never do that with you on a rant.
I'm like I'm like the person that walks into a family gathering and everyone's like, please don't talk about politics. Please don't talk about politics. I'm like, all right, game on.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need it, especially right now. Anyway, no, not that.
Okay, I think we should talk about something though.
Okay.
That's not politics related. We've done rants before that are trade show related. Like we've done like the ethics or etiquette of a trade show, whether you should stand or talk or sit or walk or whatever, right?
Whether it's a good idea to just be there on your phone.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
At a trade show.
But we've never specifically spoken about industry trade shows. We always talk about, or at least we always think about, franchisors going to franchise trade shows and franchise community going to franchise events. But there is this entire world outside of this franchise community, right? Like if you are a quick service restaurant provider, you will go to trade shows where there's new machinery to make your milkshakes. You'll go to trade shows where like there's new like beef products that, you know, or whatever ethically.
Not actually beef, but they're pretending that they're beef.
And the same thing happens with gaming. The same thing happens with, you know, outdoor adventure sports, all that sort of stuff, right? So I guess the question is, like, if you're going to that, is that an opportunity to procure new franchisees? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a great question. And I would say the first thing you'd want to check is who the audience is going to be that's there, or like audience and or fellow exhibitors, right? Like, are the people there even your target? So for you, for example, with gaming and you're like at a VR show, would that make sense for you?
Probably not. Oftentimes gamers are very like introverted, quiet. You know, they're not going to be the kind of person that wants to run a business, but they'll come to this thing so they can see all the new gadgets and games and YouTubers and stuff like that. Not always great entrepreneurs.
I wonder though who they might know, or family members. That I'd be kind of curious about that. But I think that would be the first thing I would think about though is like who's the audience there. So an example of one that comes to mind: fitness. Like a fitness show. So the people that are walking around there are, you know, fitness enthusiasts. Maybe there's a bunch of personal trainers walking around that, you know, if you have a business that might make sense for them. Like I could see a personal trainer buying a gym franchise, you know, something like that. So that would be one. Or pet industry. For sure, that kind of show. Hair, like beauty hairstylists that, you know, they have a hard time being a business owner. They're creative and they love doing hair, but they don't really know, you know, how to get customers in the door and what their numbers mean.
Right. Okay. So how do you do that? Like how do you sell a franchise at an industry trade show?
Yeah, well, I think what I would do is start with their pain points that you could solve. So what are the pain points that they might have that becoming a franchisee solves? So if they're already a hairstylist and they become a franchisee, you know, they get to become part of a family of people running the same business that are going to love and support each other. And they're going to get support with, you know, software, like a POS system, like what's the best POS system, and be able to tap into that, help, you know, maybe business coaching with what their numbers mean in that. So I think you need to like get clear on what the pain points are that you could potentially be solving and go in with a softer approach, right? Like if you were like, put up a sign, franchises available, that might work. But a lot of people, you know, they hear the F word, I like to say, and they think negative things about it because of all the negative press. Or they don't put two and two together. They're thinking franchises, that's like a McDonald's or a Subway. So I think it's more like, hey, do you have this pain point? And hey, we should talk. And so I think it's a softer approach that might take longer to close because they didn't come in looking for that. But I think you can really find, everyone says their best franchisees are usually people that were customers, or already in the industry, or employees or vendors that already knew the industry.
Yeah, I think you're turning everything on its head here.
That's what I do, Robert. I love turning stuff on its head.
When you mentioned this, the first thing that came to mind was the outdoor adventure show that I'd always go to, and you'd see people demoing new kayaks or mountain bikes or camping equipment and stuff like that. And so to me, a trade show that's industry specific is where you go to find new products, right? As an outdoor adventurist, an adrenaline junkie, that's where I'd go. But I could potentially be a good franchisee in an outdoor adventure industry. The same thing would go with hair. If you go to these trade shows and there's like a stand where you can get these new, scissors that just cut on their own because they have artificial intelligence in there, and you can acquire them through NFT purchases on the blockchain. Fine. But maybe there's also like, hey, I love hair so much that I've always kind of thought about wanting to become my own stylist or have my own chair or whatever it is. And you see that opportunity there. So I guess what I'm saying is, where these trade shows usually offer a product or service or solution to the industry, trying to sell a franchise there, that's essentially what you're doing. You're offering, in this case, a solution or a service, a franchise business to the industry, where maybe somebody who isn't as successful doing it on their own has come to this trade show to try to find that solution.
Yeah. And I think, doing a trade show anywhere can be hit or miss, whether or not you're going to get like a franchise trade show. You get leads that work, leads that don't. So I think if it were me, I would try it and assess, the ROI, but I would also have a lot of patience with how it would take probably a little longer to get that conversion to happen. I just believe in so much in getting people into our network. And if you can collect data their contact information and get them on a newsletter, or, just connect with them and get them aware of you, I think that's a win. And again, I'm also a big believer in, who do you know, like, the people that are there might not even be the exact person, but they might have a relative. They're like, oh, my aunt has been talking about becoming a business owner, and I've always wanted. And then the next thing you know, they're partnering up. Like, the world is your oyster, Robert.
I love oysters.
I'm not surprised to hear that. Now, one thing I would say about the now, if it's like beauty industry or fitness, get connected with them on Instagram. When you're standing there, maybe do a selfie with them, like build some relationship while you're at it, and then start following them, and you can nurture that. Right. So that's another thing I would do. One other thing I really want to throw in here, because it just popped into my head, is I would bring, say it's we'll go with the beauty industry trade show, bring one of your franchisees who was, a hairstylist that wanted their own business but didn't have the confidence to do it on their own. Bring that franchisee along to tell their story about how great it is to be a part of the family. Because you can say that till you're blue in the face, but they're going to believe the franchisee more than they're going to believe you.
Yeah. You know what actually just occurred to me while you were talking, and I'm going to go out on a massive limb here because this is completely anecdotal, but I wouldn't be surprised if you would have a better chance at selling franchisees at an industry trade show rather than a franchise trade show. And I'm going to say this because when you're at a trade show trying to sell franchises, you're not selling a virtual reality arcade franchise. You are selling the opportunity to become an entrepreneur. So is every single other booth next to you. When you go to an industry one, you're selling an opportunity to be an entrepreneurship. The guys next to you are selling something different.
Exactly. You can go in that, like the bigger pond with all the fish, or the smaller pond with with a bunch of different fish, but the right ones are there.
Yeah.
That between oysters and fish, I don't know.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go be awesome.